Welcome to day 13 in the lost city of Petra. So the city was lost until about 1812 when a Swiss traveler discovered a little bit of Petra and dug a little deeper essentially. It was all basically covered in sand, and slowly but surely over the years they've been excavating more and more and more of it to show the amazing temples, and then there's actually a theater as well as eventually they'll hit houses and whatnot, and it's amazing to see the different levels that there are. And even when we were there, apparently only 9 or 10% of it was actually unburied. Nubians are the ones who originally created this amazing city. Apparently the city is 24.7 square miles that is still so very much undiscovered. So it'll be exciting to hear over the next 20 years or what have you to see what else they find and hopefully to come back to it. I apologize for any extraneous noise. Unfortunately dinner is just getting out, it appears, and everyone's passing by my cabin because it's right beside the dining room. Unfortunately, this is the best I can do for a spot to tape because anywhere upstairs you hear the engine motor a lot, so I'm sorry, but bear with me. Alright, so there was a brief interlude where I tried to get Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade working for the entire ship, but we were only able to get it to play half of the track, so you were getting everything done in post-production, like the music and the Foley, but nothing that was filmed, during the actual production. So there's absolutely almost no dialogue whatsoever. So if you hear any music that sounds Indiana Jones-ish, that's why. On with the day. So there's about a mile and a half to walk that goes through Petra until you get to the treasury and everything that people know Petra as. At first it's just sort of holes in the wall, and then suddenly you see this huge cube structure, and apparently it's something to worship the dead. And you end up finding out that most of the structures in there are exactly that. There's something to worship, that someone has died there. So essentially a lot of Petra is sort of like a huge graveyard. The first tomb we come to is the tomb obelisk, and there are 4 obelisks on the very front, and then there's one figure in the middle, and he's like a cloaked figure. Apparently that would have been the head of the household that was buried there, and the other 4 represent the other people that were also buried there. Then we got to the Seek, which is this pathway that you walk along that's carved out in these beautiful, beautiful canyons essentially, and there's so many gorgeous, gorgeous colors. I just couldn't get over the amazingness of Mother Nature and a little bit of man as well. So the entire Seek apparently is 4,000 feet long, and it gets up to 300 feet high. They're slowly excavating more and more, so I guess it'll be even higher the further they get into it. And the further you get in, the less they've excavated. They also have channels cut into it to try and help for water flow, because randomly they'll have a flash flood. Apparently there was a while back where a whole bunch of tourists were killed because there was a flash flood and there was absolutely nowhere for them to go and nowhere for the water to go. And also while they were trying to make a few things to help with that, they uncovered that there was already something that they had carved out way, way, way back in the day to help with just such things. As you walk a little bit further in, you also see a structure that is apparently the god of the mountain, and it just looks like these little squares with this rectangle in the middle, and apparently those are his eyes and his nose, and at one point there would have been ears, and he is like one of their main gods. As you keep going in, you find that along the side, you'd miss it if you weren't looking correctly, but as you turn back, you notice that there are camels carved into the side. You can see their feet, which was very detailed, and you can see their humps, and it's like a camel caravan heading in, and there's a gentleman at the end of it, and you can just kind of see him from waist down. You can see his sandals and whatnot, and then if you walk a little further you see a caravan leaving, so I guess to symbolize obviously the traffic that came in and out of that tunnel. And it's just turn after turn through this canyon, and it's amazing. I mean, every time you go through and every time the sun changes, the colors seem to change. And again, it's that beautiful, amazing sculpting, just like we saw in Wadi Rum. No sand or water must have eroded it, but it's gorgeous, and it looks like an artist came through and did it for us just to please us. On the left side, as you're walking in, there is a little trough that goes all the way along, and that would have been to get water in. And on the left side, they have a ceramic pipe that would have also been for just such a thing. And you can only see the bottom part of it, just like on the water side. The top that would have covered it is also missing. But it's neat to see how they did that, and it winds all the way along, just through all these curves. So amazing engineering on their part for being so very long ago. So you're walking along, starting to sort of get used to this windy path and the beautiful colors and the amazing shapes. And then suddenly you look through and you see a bright light again, just like you've seen a couple other times, but this time something appears, and it's that amazing facade that they call the treasury that is featured in Indiana Jones 3. And just as you get closer, more and more of it appears, and you get to see the statues and the columns, and it's so amazing to finally be there in person yourself.